Do you ever feel like you are just guessing your prices and have no idea how to price yourself? Then this video is right for you. But before we start, hi, my name is Veronica. I am crocheter, business owner on Etsy and previous performance manager, and I have decided to combine all of those, let's say, three aspects of my life and create a specific tool which will help handmade makers who are on Etsy or maybe on some other platforms and have no idea how to price yourself. Rather, they are undercharging themselves or they are just guessing, having no clue if they even have any profit at all. And therefore, I have created a one tool that solves all of these problems, and I will show you the tool right now, right here. But before we start directly with the tool, I think the most important thing of all is to stop undercharging yourself, or let's say start thinking about how you price yourself. So I will be now talking about my own perspective, or let's say how I am doing it. So I am a crocheter. Okay, so I am selling digital as well as physical products. In the past, how I was doing it, I just went to Etsy, kind of search of something similar and trying to find some price ranges, and basically based on that, I try to somehow guess how much should I price my item. And don't get me wrong, okay, I somehow get to the price, but at the end I have no idea even if I am earning something or even if I am in any profit whatsoever. And actually, once I have created this tool, then I realized that many, for example, of my patterns, they are like, yeah, because of them, I am kind of in a minus because they are not selling. I need to pay for the fees and so on. And this is exactly actually for me a game changer. So when it comes to the pricing, you need to think about several pillars that are kind of stacked on each other. And at the end, you will come up to the specific price that you need. So first of all is the labor cost. You can't forget about that self. Then the second thing is, of course, the most important, and I think I would say not the most important, but the most obvious one, materials. So all the materials that you have used for that specific product that you have created. Okay, so for me it would be, for example, yarn, stuffing. If I'm creating amigurumi, for example, so a toy, so then it would be yarn, stuffing, safety eyes. And I don't know, if I, for example, bought a pattern for that specific product, I would consider that as well, of course. This is basically when it comes to the materials. Then when you are shipping, of course, then shipping. Packaging as well. So if you have a nice envelopes or nice carton boxes or anything basically, it needs to be considered within your price, of course. And then the last but not least are the fees. So this concrete pricing tool that I will be showing today is dedicated purely for Etsy. So considering all the Etsy fees that you have, then on top taxes, if you need to pay taxes, and at the end you come up to some final price. So I will be showing you exactly on my specific maybe scenarios or maybe on my specific products that I am selling. Right now the tool itself, it's available as a Google Sheet as well as Excel. I will be showing you in Excel directly on my MacBook. So now let's jump right in. Okay, so first, when you open the file, you will be basically directed to this initial page, okay, where you have clicks to the specific dashboard. But before we start doing exactly basically the pricing for a specific product that we want and so on, first we need to make some setup, okay, so then the pricing sheet works perfectly. So before we start, we will go as a first thing to our data sheet, okay. So once you click on it, you are directed to some kind of specific tables, okay? So if you are within basically one of those countries here, right here, then basically you kind of don't need to add anything. This is basically the list of the countries that I know that are currently on Etsy, or let's say you can sell via Etsy from them. So that's why also the rules behind and everything is typed, including the special fees and so on. Everything is set up for exactly this set of the countries, okay? So basically this one you don't need to touch at all if your country is there, okay? So now this tax method, I would also do not change it. If you don't need to, it's basically you will just select if you count with the taxes or not, so included, not included, the currency the same. And basically this market complexity tier, this is something that mainly for the digital parts, for the digital patterns, to kind of measure or place kind of how advanced is your pattern or the digital file, okay? And also the type of the products that you have. So usually you have digital and the physical one. So, but as I said, you don't need to touch this basically sheet at all, this part, if you agree with everything that is there, because this is kind of, let's say, just the source for all the drop-down possibilities that you will have later on within the sheet, okay? So if you click on the home button, you are directly back to the main page, okay? So I can just quickly first guide you through all of the pages that we have there here. So first we have yarn stash. Here you will kind of basically place all the materials that you are using. I will come into the more details later on, but basically this is the first thing. Then we have a dashboard itself. So this is something that once you fill up your information about the pricing and everything, then afterwards this will be refreshed accordingly. This data I showed you right now. Then we have basically kind of three engines. So these are calculating the sheets itself. So we have one for the physical product, okay? Then we have one for digital one, so they look more or less the same, just a little bit different. And then we have a bundle one, which I will come later on. If you want to create, for example, bundles of two patterns and you want to give them a certain discount, so then you can calculate exactly how it should basically, what should be the price at the end of that specific product. Now we will come back. Okay, so now first thing first, before we start placing specific pricing, I will make it a little bit bigger. What we are going to need is kind of set up our global business defaults, okay? So for me, for example, I am located in Germany, so I will select Germany as a country. If you are in the different countries, just click on the arrow below and then you will get basically the list. Now, if your country is missing in this list, you are going to add it in your data table, which you can access directly going into the sheet or via the bottom. And basically you need to place the country here, right here, if it is missing, okay? What is your standard VAT or sales tax? Depends within the country that you are. So for example, for me, I need to pay 19% VAT, okay, as within the EU. I want that my prices will be included. If I would say here not included, it would mean that within the all sheets that are there, let's say for the physical part, the digital one is a little bit different when it comes to the taxes because of how Etsy is treating it. I will later on explain it. But basically, if you click here not included, it means that basically even if you place here 19%, it won't be considered within the calculation because you will be not selling it with the VAT. But for the time being, I will put it as included. Here, this is just my business name, so Vanda V. Helen. This is my company's name. You can here place whatever the name you have. What currency do you have and what is your general margin that you want to put on top? So basically, what is the minimum kind of that you want to have as a profit? And then the hourly wage. So this is exactly how much basically you want to charge per hour. And now, once we set all of this up, okay, we can just simply go and start setting our stash, okay? I called it the yarn stash. Basically, the sheet is called material stash. This is mainly for the, let's say, people who are crocheting or knitting. But basically, you can use it also if you're using a different kind of, let's say, if you're creating something else, because it's just about how you will place this. So what I highly recommend here is, because it will make your lives easier once you will be already filling the exact basically physical engine, is place here all of the, let's say, brands or yarns that you are currently using. And basically, so for example, if you're buying them from Amazon, then just put here for how many skeins that you bought, because sometimes you have some bundle. Like for example here, I bought 5. Okay, each of the skein weighted 50 grams and I put the price, okay? If you click, there are some hidden columns that you don't need to necessarily see. How you can access them, you have two options. Rather click on this plus sign right here, okay? Or you have here 1 and 2 up in this corner, and if you click on the 2, then all of the hidden one will be kind of ungrouped, okay? So, And basically what is hidden is this cost per gram. This is something that ideally do not touch because there is a formula, so you don't need to fill this up. This is automatic based on the information that you are providing here. So it's kind of calculating how much money you are paying for the gram. It's very important later on for the calculation of the material price that you used. Okay, so I will hide it. So this is when it comes to the yarn. Okay, now then you can have some additional material. This is just kind of information for yourself. This is not going anywhere afterwards, but this is good for you, so then you know basically how much do you pay for fiber fill or for the safety eyes and so on. Then we are coming to packaging and shipping costs. So this is something that I highly recommend to also adjust. So basically I am selling, for example, if I'm selling felt eyes, I'm sending them via small letter. But of course, if I'm selling a plushie, then I will be using package S. So it's completely different, basically packaging and so on, and how much should be included within the price. And then the shipping cost, this is basically, so for those who are from Germany and will be using this pricing sheet for Germany, you don't need to update this basically because this is based on the current Deutsche Post prices. Fill this up based on your country. So ideally I would do it once a year, check if the prices changes for your specific country, go to the post site and fill this up. So then you will thank me later. It's automatically there. You don't need to always have a look. Okay. Once you basically set up this page, then you can just go simply back on the main page, so by clicking on the home button or just welcome page right here. So this is when it comes to the material stash, and now we are coming to the good part. So you set up your data and your yarn stash or material stash, okay? And now let's say we want to do a pricing for one of our physical products, okay? So we will go to the physical engine, click on it, and then we are directed. Again, once again, we have here 1 and 2, so we have here some hidden columns, a lot of them. So if you're interested how the formulas are looking, or let's say working and so on, go free and have a look. But basically, normally, and then you don't need to even have a look. So I will hide them because basically we don't need them, okay? And you are definitely not filling them. In case you are not able to, let's say, click or select certain specific cells, it's kind of on purpose, so then you don't mess up with the formulas. Basically, you don't need to fill there anything, so don't worry that your Excel is not working. It's on purpose, it's protected, okay? In the worst case scenario that you really definitely want to adjust a certain formula, you can do so. You will just go to the review and click on unprotect sheet. Now I will make it a little bit bigger. First, let's imagine I have created a bunny, which is for me, in my case, amigurumi. So these categories, this is really up to you how you are categorizing your basically products. So let's say that for the bunny, I used, now you have here the drop down menu based on how you fill your yarn stash. So this is directly linked to this one. So this will be changing based on how you will be filling basically those yarn stash or material stash sheet. Let's imagine I used Himalaya. I used 100 grams. Additional cost. So here exactly would be, for example, I used fiber fill, I used safety eyes. Let's say it's also this 30 cents more or less. Now the production time, this will be always in minutes. So I know that, for example, for me, this bunny takes me 30 minutes. Now, for this one, I am definitely, when it comes to the packaging, I know that I am using package S and as well as shipping. So I kind of name it the same, could be misleading. If it would mislead you, just change the style basically. But for me, it's good to kind of have it more or less the similar as the shipping, because this is also how the price is separated. If you have a bigger box, then you have to pay bigger shipping. Simple. And now this is very important, shipping included. What does it mean? You have 3 possibilities. So first, you can have here not included, which would mean that the final price would be calculated without the shipping. Now you have 2 options directly when you are at Etsy. Then you can fill Etsy shipping price, or not Etsy shipping price. Then you can place shipping price separately on Etsy, which would mean that the user knows that, okay, this product costs me, let's say 18 euros plus €4 shipping. okay? It will be separate for them. So at the end, you will get the money. This is the second one option. This is the first option. Second option, if you keep it under not included, and you will not charge shipping at all also on Etsy, which would mean it would be real free shipping. It would mean that the person will pay 18 euros, but those 4 euros that you still need to pay for the shipping will be going out of your own pocket. Third scenario, which many people are doing, is you will place it as included, which would mean the shipping itself will be calculated and will be within the price, okay? But on Etsy, you will not place shipping there, which would mean that on Etsy it would be highlighted as a free shipping, okay? So people would think, okay, I don't need to pay for the shipping, but in reality, actually shipping is included already in the price. Now we have a lot of numbers which basically are, as you saw, they are automatically filled, you don't need to touch them. So basically what you are filling, kind of, is only till this part that you are filling by yourself. Then everything else is calculated. One last column that you can or don't need to adjust based on your business practice, okay, is the Z column, but I will come to that later on. I just want to quickly show you basically how this works, okay? So here we have calculating what is our total cost. This is the 10% margin that is coming from your welcome page that we set up at the beginning. This is our net price, okay? But this net price is purely basically without Etsy fees, plus the tax and so on. So basically all of this, including the Etsy fees, are calculated, and then you have your Y in the Y column, your final retail price. So this would be the price, this 24 euros would be the price that you place to your Etsy listing, okay? This is the final price that you are that you will put in your Etsy listing, and this price is already containing Etsy fees, taxes, everything basically that you need. When it comes to the taxes, those who are within the European Union and need to pay VAT tax. What Etsy is doing, which even I didn't know. For the physical products, they are not putting automatically the VAT on top. So what does it mean? That they are not charging the customer VAT. This is something, if you are paying and need to pay for VAT, you need to do it by yourself. That's why this tax is here present, okay? Because you need to. So you will collect it from the customer, and then you will do it your tax declaration, and basically you will kind of collect it on behalf of Finanzamt, how tax authorities, and basically you will get them the money. But, and this is really big but, this is only purely for the physical products. As soon as you have digital products, the logic is completely different. Even if I quickly jump to the digital engine, you will see here up in the calculation, we don't have a taxes there. Why? Very simple. Because Etsy, as soon as you will basically place digital file, what Etsy is doing, Etsy is automatically taking, imagine this is the digital product, it's taking this 24 euro price and putting 19% from it on top and asking from the customer. So basically for the digital files, it's not you who are collecting VAT from the customer, but it's Etsy who is collecting it and sending it directly to the tax authorities. But this is purely for the digital files. So that's why it's a little bit different versus the physical products, okay? So just a kind of little bit more information when it comes to the taxes and how it is working within the Etsy. And now the last thing within the pricing engine. This is basically kind of the same also for the digital, but I will come to digital one later on. When it comes to this Etsy display discount, now you can run a real sale. In this case, you don't need to do anything, and you are just keeping this 24 euros in your pricing, in your Etsy pricing, and run the sales on Etsy, and then basically and Etsy kind of automatically deduct, or let's say calculate, the discount for the customer. But what does it mean? This is the real discount, which means that it is getting out of your pocket. Okay, so at the end, if you run, let's imagine 10%, that it would mean that you are not getting this 24 euros, but you are getting 10% less. Okay, now what many people are doing, and don't pretend that almost everybody is doing it. I am calling it, let's call it fake sale, where basically you are kind of running the sales constantly on Etsy, and basically your pricing listing already includes this sale. Okay, so it means that, let's simple math, but in reality it's not that simple math. Okay, so in simple math, I have this, let's round it up, I have this 25 euros for my bunny. Okay, I want to run permanent sale of 50% on Etsy, which means that I will put my Etsy pricing at 50 euro. So then at the end, once I have running my sales, I will get my 25 euros. If my shop is constantly running 50% discount, I will just place here 50%, and in the column AA, where I have my retail price including sale, this 48 euros, this is the price that I will place on my Etsy listing. If you are not doing it that way, you are not even running the sales, for example, on Etsy, might be, then you are using everything, or let's say the column that is in the Y, so the final retail price. And if you are including the sale, this is this AA, but basically this is not your real price that you are getting from the customer, okay? If you want to go back, then you will just press on the home button, and now coming to the digital engine, or just clicking here, digital engine. So basically the sheet kind of looks not so different versus the physical one, though, so the same rule with the hidden columns. Imagine that, for example, I want to also for the bunny, I have a pattern, so let's place here bunny, amigurumi, okay? And as soon as I'm starting typing something else, you will see that suddenly some formulas are popping up. This is normal, this is exactly what we want to do. So now, this material cost might surprise you, but this is a digital part. Why material costs? We have material costs if you are creating a pattern. So it means that first you need to crochet that certain thing, or you need to knit that certain thing. Ideally, I am putting basically what is the standard purely material cost of that bunny. So for example, I know that my bunny cost, when it comes to the materials, when it comes to the materials, I don't see it so easily here, so actually I will unhide all of the groups, and I see that the material cost of my bunny is 388. So this is exactly the price I'm going to place here, 388. So, and now this time. Here just put really the time, all of the time that you spend, not only on crocheting that thing, on also creating the digitally the pattern, maybe taking pictures, maybe if you do the video tutorial. So let's imagine it was 3 hours, which is 180 minutes, if my math is correct. And now you will have here some crazy numbers, which basically standardly you don't see. Let's first keep them hidden and then I will show you. Now, these target sales copies, here you need to think about how many copies do you want to sell within the whole year. I don't know, let's say 50, okay? For example, here, if you have no idea, first have a look of your current sales. If you are not sure, you can first start small, but then these target sales copies will impact the proposed pricing, or let's say the break-even price that we are coming to later on, okay? So then market complexity tier. This is just simply guidance for those countries where you have euros, where you kind of, okay, this is very beginner friendly, and as soon as I filled it, I am getting here the proposal. So let's say for the beginner friendly, let's say digital files or patterns, usually the price range within the markets, it's from 250 to 350, okay? But now, what is this break-even price? This is something, basically this is automatic. So this break-even price and suggested market price you are not touching. This is formula behind, and you see you can't even select it because it's protected. This break-even price is how much is the minimum I should charge for this digital product if I want that my effort will be paid out. That's why I will now unhide the columns. Basically, this break-even price, this what we have in the column E, is kind of a simple calculation of considering that, okay, you put an effort of 3 hours, okay, so your total one-time development cost was 48 hours, including the labor and the materials, but I intend to sell 50 of them. But 50, for example, might be, for example, for me, quite a lot. Maybe I will be able to sell just 10. And suddenly your price is much higher, break-even price is suddenly much higher. If I want to sell this pattern 10 copies only, because I know that this is not really good, this is not my best seller, but I spend quite some time on it, and in order to kind of be repaid by my effort, I would need to charge minimum $4.89 to be at zero. For a beginner friendly, for a super beginner pattern would be quite a lot. So then here it just depends, like, no, but I love this pattern, I want to keep selling it. Then I need to know that, okay, I will put maximum 350, but at the end it means that I will be in minus when it comes to the profit for that specific pattern for some time being. But maybe as I place it on 350, suddenly it came up and suddenly I sell 20 copies, then maybe I will be at better. So for example, if I place 20 copies, 244, that sounds better. So maybe I can even sell it for 3 euros. So here really it depends on your current situation. If you are brand new and you are just starting on Etsy, of course this is something where the suggested market price would be very good for you in order to kind of be in the price range where we should be, more or less, to not be completely, let's say, out of the scale, okay? And then basically the rest, kind of, you don't care, simply way. Again, we are calculating the Etsy fees, and then this is here purely net profit sale and total lifetime net profit. This is based on your total sales. So for example, if I will manage to sell that 20 copies, I will get pure profit, 21 euros for that specific pattern, okay? And this is my margin, so this is just the percentage calculated. So now coming, so this is exactly kind of the same like in the physical one. So you are looking at first the column S, this is your final retail price. So the price that I should place on Etsy will be $4.47. Here we have again our Etsy discount simulator. So I want to run immediately all the time the sales for it. So instead of placing on my Etsy listing $4.47, I will place $11.17. Now when it comes to the bundle engine, imagine I want to create a bundle of the digital product where I want to sell my bunny and I have their Hedviga, I think, okay? This is exactly where I would go, but I would go there afterwards. Of course, I place all the information into my digital file. But of course, when we are creating bundles, we want to give them a special discount on it. So first we are filling this table. So bundle discount, 10% yes. Now my product type, this is important because if I will select here physical, it will grab the data from the physical sheet. If I pull here digital, which is for me digital, it will pull the data from the digital one. For the digital, I don't have any packaging nor shipping cost. And this Etsy display discount, this is again for our, let's say, fake sale calculation if we need that. So I set this up, and now here in this place I will just place all the products that I want to have as a bundle. So I mentioned I want to have one Hedviga pattern, only one. Then as a second, okay, I don't have it here. As a second, I want to have my bunny. I filter all the basically products that I want to have here. So I just want to have it based on those two. Okay, and simply everything else kind of was calculated automatically. So those are the formulas. Now this is the final price when it comes to including the materials, effort and everything. So, and this is basically what I am looking at. This is the most important part that I need out of it. So if I want to sell those two with the 10% discount, my Etsy pricing listing for that specific product should be 9.11 euro. If I want to run fake discount on top of it, so not this bundle discount, but this fake one, let's call it fake one, I don't know the different name for it, then I need to place on my Etsy listing 22 euros. Simple as that, and that's it. For the physical one, we need to fill also the shared packaging cost and shipping cost. Let's imagine shared packaging cost will be 1 euro, and when it comes to the shipping cost, I will still manage to put them into the standard box or something. So this would be, let's say, this kind of amount. And this is the price for the combined. So this is the price that I would put on my Etsy listing if I am not running fake sale. If I am running fake sale, this is the price I would put there, which, yeah, no one would believe that I would charge so much for it, okay? Now, when it comes to the dashboard, simulated shop value, this is purely the 1,740 euros. This is for all my physical and all my digital products all together, the retail price, so the price that I am placing on Etsy. Total production costs, so this is exactly basically the cost that I am putting, including the labor. So here is every cost. And now this gross creative premium, which is something that I love the most. This is basically revenue, but it's minus material, shipping costs, transport costs, Etsy fees, taxes, everything. So this is kind of the price that you will get, but you are not considering your labor. Imagine, out of this 740 euro that basically I am asking from the customer, I am getting 798 in reality. Why I wanted to see something like this, and for me actually this is the most important number, because this is the real number that I will get into my bank account. And that's why we are in the global premium percentage. So this is basically this amount versus this amount. So this is exactly, so I am at 94%. Great, okay? So this is kind of your simulator on how much target revenue we want to have within the year. So imagine, I don't know, I will start slow. So I want to start with 10,000. Now, this passive digital split, what does it mean is how many of 100% I want to dedicate to digital one and one to the physical one. So I will place here only the digital one. The active split is automatically calculated, so you need to fill here only. So my pure focus wants to be definitely the digital one. So the 70-30, I like it. Okay, so now in order to earn 10,000, I need to sell 1,000, more than 1,000 copies of my digital patterns, where I will put this profit including labor is basically my gross creative premium, where I would earn. So on my bank account, I would get 5,700, and my net profit, it's not so big difference for the digital patterns, as basically the effort when it comes to the labor and everything is only one time, and we are expecting that we will not have 1,000 basically patterns and 1,000 times I need to, so basically those are the copies of the pattern that I already created. So then my net profit will be more than 5,000. And here, how many hours I need to spend on it for the whole year in order to accomplish that goal. Now for the physical products, I need to sell 70 physical products in order to get then profit, so the gross creative premium of 1,500. My net profit is super low. Why? Because, of course, this is simply, it might look like this is mistake. No, you need to count this net profit is without even the material cost. So the net profit is my purely, basically this 10% margin, in simple words, okay? And I need to spend 88 hours altogether. So now, is it manageable? Is it not manageable? In terms of hours, I have no idea. That's why we have here the last information, and this is estimated weekly workload, which is 18 hours. This is in relation to at what currently we are at. So this is not divided by basically 52 weeks for the whole year, because we are already in June, so almost in the middle. So I have only 6 months ahead of me, so it will be always considering it based on how many weeks you have still ahead of you in order to achieve that goal. That would be everything from my side. I hope you will enjoy using this tool. The link to this tool, to this pricing sheet, will be down below. I hope you have enjoyed this. Please let me know down below if you are using this kind of pricing tool, or maybe you are using something different. Please let me know if you are missing something on top in this pricing tool that maybe I can think of future of adding it up later on. And let me know also what kind of other business tools you usually like to use but don't have them, and so on. So thank you for watching.